Welcome everybody to the Watch List part of the Latin Nerds Network. My name is Jose. Of course, we're here ready for your virtual TV guide. We talk about, review all the shows that just got released across all platforms of streaming, and we'll set up what you guys should be watching the following week. So it kind of help prepare your own watch list, if you will, to kind of get an idea what you should be, what you should have queued up anyway. That being said, I'm not alone here. I'm going to introduce my co-host, as always, live from Houston. The ambassador of love, our TV guru himself, is Senor Jaime, of course, a.k.a. Chewy. How you doing, brother?
Hey, brother, what's going on, man? Week 4 of the fantasy season.
Let's
roll.
Fantasy,
Let's go.
Chewy, he got off the schneid. He actually won a game. Congratulations last week.
Thank you.
Very proud of you. I guess you can't,
I was
lose every game,
man. You could. I've known. It's funny you mentioned that. One league, 1 year, work league, one guy went 0-12. Believe it or not. And he was trying to win. He couldn't pull it. So it could happen.
Wow. Well, I guess it can be worse. That's the kind of guy you want in your league, though. It's easy.
Yeah.
I'll take it. So, yeah, not a whole lot of shows come out. A couple films, couple shows. But I do want to mention, I do think we here at the Watch List, we are owed a big thank you from Netflix. Because a couple weeks ago, I had talked about a show, fairly unknown show, Korean show called Squid Game. And since I discussed that show on this own very show here and recommended to the folks out there, all of a sudden, just like that, it's about to become Netflix's most watched show in the world ever. I'm not saying I'm taking full credit for that. I'm just saying, listen, perhaps just
what are you saying?
A little extra cheese.
Tell us what you're saying.
A little extra cheese away doesn't hurt Netflix. I'm looking out for you here. That's all I'm saying.
You're the Witcher and you want your coin.
Hey. Everybody's suing. Scarlett Johansson suing. Stan Lee's just everyone's suing. I don't want to go that route. Just Netflix throw a little bone our way because I think we deserve a little bit. So Squid Game, it is what it is. So did you ever see that tree, by the way, or no? Did you get around to it?
Not yet.
So you're one of the few.
I may get around to it. I'm one of the last holdouts. Hey, look. I was late to the game for Corella, dude. So I could wait months before watching.
That's fine. I get it. And listen, and the Squid Game's not I know it's the most watched, and there's various reasons why, but it's not like, oh my god, it's not. Sometimes
no.
These shows get overhyped because it's
fun.
watched.
It's look, keep it simple, right? The KISS strategy, right? You don't need complex plots or over the top action or graphics or effects. I mean, it's simple premise.
You need a good idea, right? Executed well. Yeah. It's that simple, right?
And like from what you described, simple games. Yeah. Nothing complex.
Nothing complex, and it's very cool. It's again something different to watch. Because now we get tons of detective murder shows and action, superhero. We get all that, but once in a while, okay, something different, cleanse the palate. But that's one I liked a lot. So either way, before we get started, real quick, Joe, I want to circle back because I know you hadn't finished watching. I did. I recommended it, and that's Midnight Mass on Netflix. Of course, Matt Flanagan directed stuff. Did you finish watching that?
I did finish watching it. Yes.
What you thoughts on that? You seen the whole thing?
I actually liked it a lot.
Okay.
And because at the end of the day, it's a pseudo vampire horror story.
Right. I didn't want to say anything last week because the spoiler.
No, yeah, that gives it away, right?
Right.
But obviously I especially enjoyed the portrayal of the religious aspect of it, where look, I'll be full disclosure, I'm not big. I was raised Catholic, but I'm not a religious guy by any stretch of imagination, right?
Fair enough.
But I know enough and seen enough and been around enough of that type of person who's ultra religious, who will see religion and God, and no matter what you show them and portray. Right. So here we have a case where we have literally a vampire, anything, if anything, anti-religion, anti-God, and he's made out to be the angel from heaven who's given them everlasting life.
Right, exactly. That was a cool idea, taking that fanaticism with Catholicism. I think it's religion in general, right? Happens across, not just it's just Catholics. It's across the board,
Christianity. Well, actually, all religions, because you can see fanaticism in Muslim, you can see it in with Buddha. I mean, whatever religion,
Mhm.
whoever you worship, I mean, you see it, right?
Yeah.
There's that sect.
Yeah, they're the ones that are overly devoted, and that's the kind of, and so they see things differently. So a good idea, good premise. I like that last one. I think we both recommend. I was just kind of curious to make
Yes.
sure you guys seen that.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, let's get started when we came out this week, and we'll start as always with the movies. And there was actually three films. One I didn't watch, and one I'm not even gonna talk about. And that was I don't know if maybe you saw it too. I'll give you a chance real quick, and that's the Many Saints of Newark. Is that what it's called? Which is the Sopranos
No
prequel.
interest.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
interest.
I'm not big into prequels. I like the Sopranos a lot, but I'm not into prequels. I don't care. I heard it's pretty good, but I didn't watch it, so we're not gonna talk about that. But when it did come out, this one, no Chew, you did not see, because it's not your genre, the horror genre. That, of course, is no one
Yeah,
gets.
let's be fair. I see some
Every so
horror.
often you do, every so often you do, but it's not your bag, right? We see
There's a
something.
couple of shows that we're gonna talk about at the end of this show that are horror esque that I'm gonna watch. So
No,
well.
no, you're not opposed to it, but it's not your bag. That's all I'm saying. By the way, it's one that's called No One Gets Out Alive, and there's no way you saw it. I was shocked we saw it. By the way, this one, this is Latin Network. We support a Latino brother, and so we have a Mexican star. We have a director, Spanish descent, his first movie. So I was like, why not? And it's October. This is the month of horror. I'm not a horror fan. I'm down to see all that. So this is a time to release said shows, and this one here is about a girl whose mom passed away. She immigrates to the United States, illegally. What are you gonna do? And she finds a cheap room and board in this kind of big boarding house. I guess it's very large, but she soon finds out that it's I would say it's haunted. It might be the right word, but it's definitely things going on there. The supernatural, and the people who own the property, rented to her, are also kind of in cahoots with said supernatural thing. So, it's a decent. It wasn't bad. I was surprised. I was expecting crap. It's Netflix, and let's be honest, it's more bad than good with Netflix. At best, I'll say most things are just middle of the road, right, Chewy? I mean, let's be honest here. But this one is actually worked pretty well. It's got some good imagery, cool stuff. The ending, that the third act, and when you get the reveal of what's going on, it's either going to be hit or miss for some people. I thought it was kind of cool because I'm kind of into that thing. Given that's good, ambiguous ending, I enjoyed it. It's not great, but for simple horror, I think it gets the job done. Cue it up, watch it as we get closer to Halloween. That's one that I think you people might enjoy. Not a great film, but a decent, well-made kind of film. So I kind of like this one. But that too is not. This is not for you, I'll tell you right now. But I wanted to mention that. But the other one I think you definitely saw. I know I did. Was another Netflix film that is The Guilty,
Mm-hmm.
starring Jake Gyllenhaal, directed by Antoine Fuqua, who's taking a break from partnering up with Denzel Washington. He's done several movies with him. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? You go to a good restaurant, you're gonna go back over and over again. So I get it. But Jake Gyllenhaal, he's no chopped liver. He's a great actor. So Chu, I'll let you take lead on this one. This one got released on Friday. What do you thought about this?
I enjoyed it, actually. It's pretty interesting. It's relatively short, only 91 minutes,
Yeah,
roughly. It all takes place in one location at a 911 call center, one character essentially.
yeah,
Um,
basically.
and so there's a twist, right? Which you think is not what exactly happened, and that how it relates to the title character, Officer Joe. Can't remember his last name.
I don't need it.
But yeah, I mean, a very tense thriller, but not in a sense where you see a lot of action. It's all in the communication, the phone calls, and him trying to track down what's going on, and to build up a lot of tension. And obviously, we get the big reveal at the end, as far as with how it's related to him. So yeah, I thought it was pretty decent movie.
Yeah, it was okay. Again, it's just one of the ones. I'm not supposed to say it's good. Like, oh my god, like it's a light recommend for me. It's okay. It's an hour and a half. You want to kill some time on a Sunday afternoon? Okay, listen, Jake Gyllenhaal, he
It's
obviously he
great.
had to carry the film because
Yeah.
it really he's about 99% of the cast, and he has about 97% of the screen time, bro. Maybe 99% of it.
Oh well,
Maybe
I think
not.
all
Maybe
of it
I
really.
won't say 100.
Okay, yeah, not the beginning credits or the end credits.
So
Everything
let's say
else is
99%. It's just him on screen. A couple people pop up here and there. Yeah, you're right. He takes this one call, and it's I guess a woman who's being kidnapped, and he's trying to help her, whatever, track her down before something bad happens, and the kids are left alone in the house. So he's trying to balance both things. But yeah, it was fine. It was a good tangent. He's really good. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. He's great, and he carries this film. Not a great one. I don't think a lot of people might get into it because again, it's just one. Like you're right. It's just one scene, one location, right? It's
location.
inside
Yeah.
the night one, and in the control room, whatever, the car room,
Mm.
and that's basically it. And he goes to the bathroom a couple times, and he goes to a separate office, but that's really it. So those kind of movies are hard to kind of hold your attention, particularly for an hour and a half. It did okay job with it. I mean, the premise is cool, I guess. But yeah, I didn't love it. I mean, like I said, I guess I wouldn't deter you from watching it. At the end of the day, it's like this is what I would say burgers and fries film, right? It's okay, it's a decent meal, but it's not anything to get excited about, right? But you're hungry, it'll satisfy the hunger for the
Yeah,
most
man.
part.
I want a Big Mac from time to time.
You can call this Big Mac. I'm okay with that. It's fine. A burger banian and still a burger. But
Yeah.
yeah, nothing. Don't expect. I got decent reviews coming out of the film festival. I think Netflix bought it, but whatever. That being said, I mean, yeah, it's an okay watch. Another one. This is another Netflix drop. This was a kind of a documentary-ish comedy documentary slash Netflix does these a lot with like the like last blockbuster. The movies that made us, the toys that made us, for example. And this one's called Attack of the Hollywood Clichés. About 58 minutes long, so it's very short, which is good because it didn't need to be any longer than that.
Hosted by the great Rob Lowe.
Yes, Rob Lowe hosting, of course. Yeah, listen, obviously they just kind of walk through a lot of the cliches and tropes that we all kind of see and recognize, and they make fun of it and some of the origins of these tropes. As a cinephile and all that, it's really cool to see. And actually, a couple of things that I did learn, Chewy, the Windheim, I think it's Windheim, some of that, the Windheim scream or something.
I knew that because I've been so let's set the premise. So obviously back in the 50s or 40s or 50s, they recorded a sound of a gentleman falling, right? Ah! And it's been infamously used throughout cinema history. And once you recognize it, you start hearing it. I've heard it on, and it's funny because every time I hear it, I laugh because it's basically the same soundbite. I heard it on Star Trek when one of the red shirts gets sucked out of the Enterprise, and you hear it. In every movie, people
Yeah,
place
Star Wars had
it,
they,
and
they
some
talked
of
about it.
it
Yeah.
to make fun, to make it. And
Star
they
Wars,
showed one in Star Wars.
Indiana Jones had it. They used it. Tarantino's used it.
Yeah.
So they take this screen, this sound, they edit it into their film as almost like a nod or a joke. It's become, for a filmmaker. So very cool. And the one thing that got me was and I for some reason I've seen this movie like 1,000 times and I've never noticed it. They talked about in The Rock, of course, with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery, and the beginning with Ed Harris is, beginning of the film, he's, talking to the grave.
Oh, with the cemetery scene, and he's giving the exposition, and there's one where he's talking to his wife, and on the headstone it says their name, his wife.
It's like
And
I never noticed that. And like, really? And they have to put his wife, so it's his wife. It's pretty obvious when he's talking to her who she is. So that was funny. But yeah, it's funny. It's quirky. Yeah.
It's funny. No, it's pretty funny. Rob Lowe is pretty funny as host, and it kind of like Nick Cage did with the history of curse words.
Yeah, History of Curse Words, another one that yeah.
Over the top, but I mean, he adds enough humor that interludes between the various scenes, and it goes through each trope fairly quickly, right? They don't spend a whole lot of time on any one, but they kind of go through a whole series of Hollywood cliches, which we see in most movies, if not all movies.
Yeah, so it's fun. It's a fun watch. Like I said, it's only 50-some minutes, so I recommend it. It's a good time. Particularly if you're a movie fan, why not? The first show that dropped, this is one that actually I told you about, if I'm not mistaken, and that is it's a Nordic show. I know subtitles. Oh my god, that's the Chestnut Man. This is a kind of a murder, dark thriller, mystery, very noir-esque kind of show. Surrounding these I guess this serial killer who brutally maims this female whose mother's that's his target, and leaves a little chestnut figurine, if you will, behind. And this chestnut figurines, I guess it's a Nordic thing where kids make these little figures out of chestnuts or whatever the case is. And it's obviously this tied into an abduction of a girl about a year before the murder started happening. And the mother happens to be one of the prime ministers, or like this prime social minister, I guess what they call it over there. So yeah, Joey, did you see this one before I get into it? Okay.
No, I wasn't. They
It's
took
really
my
good.
fancy.
It's really, really good. Dude. It's in the same vein. It's not as good before. Favorite jumps down my throat is Mayor of Easttown, but the same kind of style, right? The same vibe, the same tone, very dark. Methodically paced, very good mystery behind it, very dark, good characters. This is really good, man. It's a really strong show, man. If you're into that, it's the same producers as The Killing, AMC a few years ago that came out. I think it was 2 or 3 seasons. It was actually
I
yeah,
remember that
decent
show. Good
show.
show. Yep.
But yeah, man, this is good, man. This is really good. It's a good mystery. It's a good twist. That's something you don't see when they reveal. Obviously, the killer. You don't expect that at all. So that's always a good thing. Really well done, dude. I highly recommend the show, dude. If you have time, 6 episodes, a limited series. So this is it's a one and done in terms of the seasons. It's a high recommend for me. Yeah, it's borderline must watch. It's really good. So if you get a chance,
Okay. I'll see if I
yeah,
can
if you
fit
can, yeah, if
it
you
in.
can
Just,
fit it in.
I mean, there's so many weekly shows that I'm watching. It's hard to fit in other stuff, especially during
Right.
football
So this is one
season.
I think it's really good. Like I said, it's a slow burn, but it's building, building, building. So it's really well done, well executed. Another one which you have brought to my attention, which I did see, I think about I think 4 or 5 episodes. I remember. That is another Netflix show,
Oh
another
wow.
limited series show. No subtitles though, making everyone happy, and that's called The Maid. Chewy,
Hmm.
lead us into this.
So unfortunately, I won't name times
Okay.
what's what episode, but the premise is a family, wife and a daughter, who we learn initially she may be going through emotional abuse with her husband or significant other, for a number of years. Decides one not to get up and go, and basically, so she's got no money. She's got really nowhere to go. She's got parents who she'd rather sleep in the car than go stay with them. Um, and basically she does whatever it takes to survive, right? So in this first episode, she literally takes a position as a maid, has to leave the daughter with the mom, and it progresses from there. But I found it to be fairly interesting and a pretty decent watch. One episode in, I'm not sure how it's going to progress the rest of the season, but it's a heavy drama, realistic, gritty, and so my people might enjoy
Yeah,
it
it's
actually.
good. It's a very well done drama. I think it's based off these memoirs, so it's I guess a true story, I guess,
Yes,
from someone who.
semi autobiographical, but obviously still fiction,
Right,
heavy
right,
fiction.
exactly. And yeah, so she kind of lived through and just going over what she went through. Yeah, this girl she goes to the ringer, right? And it's done pretty well. True, you haven't gone there,
Mhm.
but the dude try to make this interesting in terms of how it's filmed. Like when she has no money, right? So when she's buying stuff, they always show the counter her the money.
Oh no, yeah,
Yeah,
there was yeah. So she started with like $50, and she gets that, and it gets done. She goes to the dollar store, and she gets to the point where she tries to buy a sandwich, and it goes, and she's in the red. So like, I gotta put that back. I can't get that. Even with like when she first got a job, she thought, okay, $12 an hour. She's thinking, oh, 40 hours a week, 500. But then she said, yeah, but you only can work 6 hours a day. Okay, still 375. I only have one shift and it's 3 hours. Crap, 37.50, and you got to pay for a uniform. Back down to
yeah.
12
So
bucks.
and it's cool. And it's actually this one scene. They see the first scene when she goes to court or no? Out of curiosity. Okay.
No, no,
This
that's
is
not,
that's not
not
spoiler,
yet.
but
Yeah.
it's funny though because it's a good things the show does and all that. So her, she runs away with the kid obviously, but the father, he wasn't unaware she was taken off, so he fights for
Mm.
custody, and hires a lawyer. She's unaware of it. She has to go to court by herself. She's got no representation. So the lawyer is obviously on the behalf of the father. He's speaking and talking to the judge, saying, "Hey, we want ex parte and yada yada yada." But he says things like he's like legal, 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 and then this is legal, 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 and those are his words. And the judge is like, "Oh yeah, legal, 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 legal." Right,
She
because the girl
doesn't
doesn't understand. So
understand.
that in her head, that's what she's hearing. So it's kind of funny how they do stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, good show. Yeah, good drama. Well done. It's 10 episodes. Yeah.
I think that also kind of reflective of, because they interlace scenes. So like in the first episode where she's with the social worker, right? And the first social worker says, it gives her the statement about white privilege, and you see you can help it just because you're white. And then the next second is like, can I get the form, please? And it's like in we're seeing literally in her mind how she's seeing things, or how she thinks
Yeah.
things are being portrayed, but it's not actually reality, right? So it's a little twist on perception versus
Yeah.
reality,
Yeah, and it happens
type of
throughout the show. And
portrayal.
it's like I said, it's really cool. It's once she actually starts dating, it's a kind of cool little thing with Tinder. It's kind of funny, but it's well done. This is well done. It's good. It's a good drama. So if this is for you drama folks out there, it's enjoyable. Watching my girl, and she's really liking it. So that's, she likes it. It's usually a good sign. She doesn't like these kind of shows. But I recommend.
Yeah. She also likes this,
She likes
all right?
everything.
So
She likes everything, no
let's
doubt.
temper
But
those
she doesn't go into
expectations.
drama as much. So she likes the
Mhm.
drama is usually a good sign of that for whatever that's worth.
Mikey, Mikey, she
Yeah,
likes
no
it.
doubt. Old reference. I don't know that. Hey, Mikey. So the last one here, this one,
Speaking of which, I finally tried Life cereal. Hold on. Quick, sorry. I finally tried Life cereal. Actually, it's not that bad.
oh my God, I don't think I ever had life cereal. Then, it was all Lucky Charms and
I just tried nothing as a commercial, but we've grown up since the '70s where the whole Mikey, give it to Mikey, he likes it. It's an old Life cereal commercial from way back in the day. But I actually tried it. It's actually not that bad, actually.
learn something new every day. I stick with my Lucky Charms, dude. Captain Crunch, Fruity Pebbles. That's the good shit right there. The last show, and this one's all you because I haven't seen it. This came out on Starz, I believe, and that's Heels. Kind of a wrestling show, right? It's not the wrestling. It's not wrestling typical, but show about guys who wrestle, essentially. So Chewy, you saw this. You really liked it, apparently.
Yes, man. I just want to put on my list. It started coming out in August. I think the last episode drops not this next Sunday. 8 episode run. Stars Ariel and Alexander Ludwig. You probably see him from probably most famously from Vikings. He was born as and one of the main characters, not sure which is a great show in history, by the way. But so basically, it revolves around a family, fictional, right, in the deep South, somewhere in South Georgia, where it basically kind of harkens back in the day where there was these regionalized wrestling areas right before the big majors came in, a la the WWF, WWE, and WCW, and all these, where they brought up all these independents. And so basically, it revolves around their struggle to keep up with the business, and obviously with the wrestling twist and the infighting and the portrayal of the father. This is basically a legacy business with them. His father was a big time wrestler in this particular independent, and then obviously the two sons are part of it. And so you get that twist. Obviously, I enjoyed it because obviously I remember watching wrestling back in the day. But it's not a wrestling show. That's just the premise, right? It's basically a drama about this one family and trying to make it through in the business and get to that next stage, right? Very, very well made show. It's very good, great drama. I highly recommend it. It's highly rated both critically and with folks who are watching it. I know Starz is not a big channel, and they're probably best known for Outlander, maybe a couple other shows. We used to watch Counterpart, which we love, but they canceled for whatever stupid reason. But whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I did it. I
people
never
do
got
watch
into it.
it.
It's probably popular, right? But Outlander is probably their biggest prize, right? That's the one key show that they've had for 6-7 years now. But this is a very, very good show. If you don't have to be a fan of wrestling to enjoy this, right? Wrestling is just like a little icing on the cake, but it's more of the people and the characters they portray both on screen and obviously in their private lives. So this takes around their private lives as well.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I guess I just don't have Starz. I don't see myself getting it. But if you do have Starz, obviously this is just coming. I recommend. So, and I've heard good things about it even before.
Yeah. I would harken it to you see the underside, right? You don't see the front and center action. You see it behind the scenes, right? What goes on backstage, what happens in their private lives, and dealing with trying to make it in this business. From starting from nothing to trying to be something.
Okay, well, good. Well, all right. Well, then there you go. It's another show to watch. I mean, if I ever end up getting Starz, I want to see. It's just it's just so much and so many channels I can. It's just so much money. You know how it goes, right? That all being
oh, I mean, it was like $3 a month. I got a promotion.
Oh, you got like on a deal, whatever the case is.
I was like, oh yeah, sure. I want to watch this perfect time.
So there you go. So another must watch on that end. So the two big ones are obviously from your end will be Heels of Mine, will be Chestnut Man, Attack, Cliches is another good watch as well. And the Maid, I think both recommend the Maid, and not highly recommend, but we definitely recommend it's a good watch. Let's talk about next week, dude. Again, I want to apologize we're having some technical issues, so apologize for some of the cutoffs and all that out there. But yeah, let's talk about next week. I'm gonna need your help on what's coming out next week and all that. As we set the table here, we got about 4 shows, documentaries, whatever coming out. I think 3 on Netflix. 1 is Peacock. The first one is I think season 4. Peacock? Is the On My Block for season 4, I believe, dropping on the 4th. Final season. I don't watch the show. I never got into it. I know Chew, this is. I think you did, right? Am I wrong in that, or no?
Yeah. I like it. It's funny comedy. LA in the hood in LA. around four high school teenagers. And it takes an interesting twist and a funny twist on living in that type of neighborhood, living, these are not kids of wealth. Some are associated with gangs. Some are just trying to grow up and just be normal people. And obviously, it takes a comedic twist to the interactions and with other characters that are related to them and stuff. So I've enjoyed it from the beginning, and so this is the last season of that show.
On the 6th is a documentary at Netflix. And Netflix, unlike the films, like I always said, Netflix usually hits 90% of the time in the documentaries, right? And this one called Bad Sport was focusing on, I think, 6 big stories of corruption and crime related to something in sport. Looks good. Again, it's documentary limited. I'm always in for something like that too. I would assume you are too. It looks interesting, Yeah, like I said, you usually hit with documentaries.
We love sports and anything that shows the seedy side of the sports world.
Yeah, it's a good blend.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. And again, they usually, I would say 90% of the time they always hit, so why not? Another one Netflix coming out on the 7th, I think it's Friday, is this one I'm not too familiar with. Chewy, help me out here. It's called The $1 Billion Code. What exactly is that?
This is a German show, so I think a grain of salt because we've seen some good and we've seen some
subtitles.
But the premise is, I'm not sure how historically accurate this is, or this is just completely fictionalized. But apparently, these two German kids invented what later became known as Google Earth, right? But they didn't get the credit for it. So that's the idea, right? Like Google somehow came in and took their idea and made it into Google Earth, and everyone else was, got shot. So we'll see. We'll see if it's any good.
Yeah, again, we'll check it out so you guys don't have to in case, right? The last one, this is the cock, coming out again on the 7th as well. There's a show called One of Us is Lying. I'm not familiar with this show. Again, help me out. What is this? What do you expect with this one?
Murder, well, probably murder horror, I guess, genre. So apparently, in high school setting, kids are. I'm hoping I'm not confused with another show, another film, a similar premise. But basically, so they start getting information about certain individuals, right? So secrets start coming out, and they start getting picked off, right? And someone's behind it. So I think that's basically the layout. So murder / horror type of show.
Okay, well then I'm in. It's hard. I think the other one is. I think the remaking or making to show form is.
And I know what you did last summer or
of course,
something.
from Jennifer Love Hewitt way back in the 2000s, 90s. I get when it came out.
Yeah.
That's why it was on Prime. But that we'll talk about then in a few weeks. But listen, horror. Okay, then you kind of sold me just on that. I'll check it out. I think Peacock's weekly, right? They don't drop.
That probably be weekly. Most of the shows are weekly. I don't think they've dropped too many. I actually Saved by the Bell was all dropped at once, but I think most of the other shows are weekly drops.
Dr. Death, which was really good. That was a weekly show on Peacock. So I think with the exception of Netflix,
I love that show. Man.
Most
great, man.
streaming platforms are using the week by week.
No, actually, Dr. Death though dropped all at once. Dr. Death dropped all at once.
I stand corrected. Okay, I stand corrected.
Yes, it did. I remember that. Yes, that was all at once because I saw it.
Okay, well, fair enough.
Yeah. But the other shows, Mr. Mercedes and some other, that was all at once. Yeah, I think they do a pretty good combination of some all at once and some weekly.
Well, let's see. So I'm not sure about this. We'll find out soon enough. But yeah, so there it is. So that's what we have for this week. And you guys know what to expect for next week. So again, thanks everybody for watching. Subscribe, comment, share, etc. And we'll see you guys next week.